Alright, so real quick, if you've watched my video about all the new cakes, you know that tea cakes are out. It is 8.5 ounces, 240 grams, 204 yards, 186 meters, 80% acrylic, 20% wool, super bulky, size 6, 11 stitches to 14 rows on US 11 size 8mm needles to do your standard 4x4 10x10 gauge swatch. For crochet, 7 stitches by 8 rows gives you, or 7 single crochet I should say, gives you a 4x4 10x10 on US L811 8mm hook. Wash it. You can dry it, but don't iron it. I don't remember what honestly don't remember what all these symbols mean. Hand wash, don't iron, something, something. But those are all the symbols of things you should and should not do to this yarn. Never iron your acrylic unless you really want to kill the acrylic. Just don't do it. So this color is Earl Grey because they're all named after teas, and this one is Oolong. And I am going to be using these adorably bright, and not focused, sorry about that, needles, US 11 8mm. I don't usually use anything other than double-ended needles, but like circulars or double points, but I can't find any that I already own in this size. So we're gonna go crazy and use these. So I'm gonna do a knit scarf in this color, and that's the oolong, and then in the Earl Grey I'm going to use, I think it's the same brand, Crystal Lights Red Heart something from like a million years ago. You guys probably can't see that, sorry, it's not wanting to focus on the hook. Oh, so sorry. There we go. 8mm L, pretty blue hook. That's going to go in the Earl Grey. See if I can get the focus again. Ooh, sorry. In the Earl Grey, I am going to do the Afghan, like a little blanket like we usually do, just really quick out of one of these. It should take like a minute. Maybe like video time a minute, not real life a minute. It should just take a minute. And then I'll frog that just so we can have the dimensions. It's not really worth saving. It won't be quite right to actually give anybody, but we'll do that for comparison purposes, and then I'll make that into a cowl for myself, because sometimes a girl just needs a chunky black and gray cowl, right? So that'll be up in just a sec. So one of the things that I noticed, or that I haven't really done, I noticed I haven't done yet, is show you guys how I bind off. This is my Tea Cakes Oolong colored knitted. You can see I did a seed stitch. It has great stitch definition. You can see how nice and big and bumpy that is. I love seeing the big bumps on the seed stitch. I think that's what makes it a really cool looking stitch. You can also see where that knot was if you follow me on Instagram. I found a knot in the ball really early on, and I could have done a little, like a Russian join or something there, but I just freaking left that knot because I'm going to keep this scarf. I like it. It's pretty. The colors are nice, and I don't have a lot of scarves of my own that I've made, so I can handle having that little guy there. It's cute. Maybe I'll cover it up with something like a button or something interesting like that. So I'm going to show you the stitch really quick. You've probably all done your basic seed stitch, but I only have a little yarn left. And I'll show you how I know how much yarn I have left. I do this, and as I knit, I'll do a few of these back and forths on my fingers, and then I'll count them and see how many rows I do with that, so I can see how much yarn I've got left when I'm ending off a scarf. And so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds on my fingers here, and then I know that it takes 3 per. I try to leave a little extra for a bind off. So 3 and 3 is 6, that's 2 rows, and I only have 8, so I'm going to do one more row, then I'm going to bind off. I'm going to show you how I do a decrease bind off. I like the decrease bind off because you're binding off in stitch, but you're not, I don't know, it's just, I like it better. I always slip my first stitch, and then I'm going to knit in my purls and purl my knits. That's how you do your standard seed stitch. And you'll see I might knit a little oddly. I've heard that before, so you won't hurt my feelings if you comment in the comments below that I knit oddly. Or maybe you knit like me, and it'd be nice to see other people who knit like me. So if you knit in this weird way, let me know in the comments below. So here's one row. This is 20 stitches. I generally do my seed stitch in an odd number, so I always start and end the same way. You know, I always knit one side, start with knit and start with the knit. That way I'm always doing it the same way, but I forgot. So I set up my bottom row with a set of knits and forgot that I was going to do this in an odd number because I was doing half of what I usually do because this is a much bigger yarn. I was doing a 20 stitch. So yeah, slipped my mind while I was getting this set up. So let me show you how I bind off. So I'm going to knit here, I purl here, because that's what I do in this one. And then I'm simply going to put those back on and bind off. And then I'm going to knit, move them back over, bind off. Knit, purl, slip them in, slip them in knitwise. The yarn to the back. Knit again, so I'll show you that a couple more times. Knit, slip them back on as if to knit, knit those two together. Purl, so I stay in my pattern, slip them on as if to knit, and then knit them together. These are a little slippery. Knit, slip them back on as if to knit, knit those two together. It keeps it nice and loose, which is the biggest problem I have with bulky yarns at a bind off, is it tends to get tight because bulky yarn gets tight really quick in my opinion. I can generally keep really small yarn very loose really easily. It tends to just kind of be loose and floppy for me. But bulky yarns tend to get a little tight. So you also notice I did an odd cast on. I actually did an E-loop cast on. If you've never seen an E-loop cast on, let me show you it real quick. You just pull those up there. An E-loop cast on, you basically just take it around your thumb this way, not other way, haha. You're basically putting it on like that. And you just keep kind of, why can't I get it to do it while I'm talking to you? I'm trying to do too many things at once. Talking on camera and trying to do an E-loop at the same time. It's not working for me. But you're basically doing it like this. There we go. Loop it around your thumb and cross it over. So that's an E-loop cast on. Looks kind of like a cursive E. You can see that kind of from the side there. Kind of looks like a cursive E. So for those of you who tend to over tighten your short to your long tail cast on, an E-loop would be better for you in some instances. Maybe you'd prefer a cable cast on. I like cable cast ons for things I'm doing top down, so like top down sweaters and things like that. I want my ending to be just as pretty as my beginning. Alright, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to purl, slip it on as if to knit, knit those two together, accidentally split my yarn. There we go. And then I'll just continue that. You guys don't need to keep watching me do that. But I'll keep doing that for the next couple of stitches, and then just pull my last little tail through the last stitch, pull it tight, and sew those in or work them in. Sometimes with bulky yarn like this, I'll actually split the yarn to its plies and pull those in. It just depends on the pattern I'm doing and how thick the yarn is. For those of you who hate the way bulky yarns look when you kind of sew them back in, which you do like this apparently. So an idea for you, if that's something you dislike, split them back into their main plies, and then sew each of those plies in separately. Alrighty, I will have the crocheted blanket for you in a moment that I'm going to then frog and make into a cowl, because I don't want to buy a third ball because they're $10 a ball. But that is that. Thanks, guys. Okay, so just a real quick check in on the tea cakes yarn. This one is, I don't remember the colorway. I'll put it in the notes. Or you probably saw at the beginning of the video. But I did, as promised, a really quick, this was literally really quick, like 2 episodes of Forensic Files on Netflix. So it did not take very long. It's a really nice quick workup. It does get, as you can see here, 26 inches from one side to the other. Not bad for a single cake. I have some yarn left over. Not enough for a whole other round, but quite a bit. So 2 skeins of this would have actually made a really big baby blanket or a nice size couch blanket for one person. Maybe 2, depending how you snuggle. So, yeah, not bad at all. I will be frogging this in just a moment and whipping up a cowl in the 1-row lace pattern, which you've probably seen on my channel before, and if you haven't, you will soon. I will link that in the comments below as well, so you can find that pattern on Ravelry. It's just super quick. It's nice, like a recipe. It's not a real pattern per se, but it's nice, and the way it works up is really great for a yarn like this. So back in a flash. Okay, so we finished the knitted scarf, and you saw my bind off method. Here it is, all finished. Still a little wonky with some of the, just really hard to put these on the floor and have them sit nicely. But it is 67 inches long in a nice seed stitch. And I really like this. It's a nice thick bulky yarn. It's not too bulky. You can see the stitch definition is really nice. It almost has that X's and O's kind of look to it, which I like. Chainmail-ish. It's really quite nice. The colors are pretty. This is fairly true to color on my screen right now. Maybe a little dark. It's probably a little paler than that. But it's really, the colors are beautiful. This is the oolong tea. And then we also have a cowl. Now, if you've never seen the pattern, the 1-row lace pattern on Ravelry, I'll put it in the comments below, but it is in the description below. It's a really nice, easy pattern. You can see it's a fairly simple chevron ripple stitch. So it's a really nice one. This is, pull this over here, from tip to tip. If I can, this is really, here. It is about 15 inches tall, 15, 16 inches tall, which is nice. Goes on like a, almost like a hat, but it's mixed with a scarf. It does a lot. I'll show you guys in a second. Hold on. Okay, so here I am wearing the cowl. You can see it goes up pretty far. It actually goes down pretty far. I can actually put this up over my head, protects my head and my neck, so my jacket would fit on really nicely over top of it. Keeps everything really pretty warm. I like it. It's snuggly, it's soft. There's a little bit of, if you were sensitive to wool or you have really sensitive skin, this might be a little itchy, but other than that, it's a really nice cowl, so I'm happy with it. And you can, do some other things if you flip it kind of inside out, pull the bottom out the top kind of way. That's really, it doesn't look very good in the here, but it, you can make it a little bit tighter. You can put the side over and pin it. There's more stuff you can do with the cowl. Sorry, not super good with the forward-facing camera. So that's that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to review any other particular yarn. I still have sprinkles. This is the tea cake, so I have sprinkles, cupcake. What else is left? Big cakes. Left, baby cakes, cotton cakes. I'm working on the cotton cakes now, baby cakes, and then I'll try to whip out a few of the other ones. This was a really quick and easy project, so talk to you guys later. Bye.